Hey guys, today I'm having a fun conversation with Courtney Moeller. Courtney is a blockchain expert, but she also talks about how she got into investing. She wasn't born this way. It did take her a bit, and it's been quite the zigzaggy, winding road. I hope you enjoy this one.
Be the change you want to see. Make a difference by giving your money a purpose, a mission to do good. Welcome to Money with Mission, where we show you how to create passive income so that you have options for how to work and how to live your life while leaving a legacy of positive social impact.
Courtney is a general partner at EMPR Investment Group. Bitcoin Mining Women, Invest on Main, and she is co-host of the Vodcast Ladies Kickin Assets. She proudly served 5 years in the United States Navy in the Persian Gulf, supporting Operation Iraqi Freedom. After the Navy, Courtney settled into real estate in West Texas as a realtor for the next 10 years. She was very successful, but was working nonstop. That's when she realized it's not just about earning money, but rather about affording the lifestyle that you want. And the lifestyle Courtney had didn't allow her to spend time with her husband and children. She decided to begin investing to accumulate the wealth she needed to live the life she wanted. Courtney is heavily involved in the cryptocurrency space, from mining Bitcoin to traditional investing to developing a real estate tokenization platform. She invests in ownership of petroleum and carbon capture with more than 60 wells throughout Texas. She also invests in real estate and is passionate about delivering quality financial education. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to have this conversation. There's so many different places for us to go, and hopefully you guys hang in there with us, because we're going to take this conversation some different
all
places.
the things.
All the stuff.
Yes.
All the
Yes.
stuff.
Thank you so much for having me. I have been looking forward to this ever since we scheduled it, because every time I talk to you, I have such a great time and we cover so much information.
I agree.
We're just going to have to start recording all of our calls.
That's true. Hey, we were just talking about social media, you guys, before we went on the air, and neither one of us like it. But if we record our conversations, then we can just start throwing out little bits of that onto social media, and you guys can all be a part of it. How about that? I don't know. We might have something there.
Yep. Nope. I think it's great, because you never know when those little golden nuggets are going to, come out and present themselves. So
I agree. So Courtney, I know we talked about in your bio, we talked about how you're doing crypto and Bitcoin mining and all these kinds of things. And we're going to get to that, I promise, because it's exciting stuff. But before you got there, you did a bunch of stuff. You were in the Navy, you did real estate investing as a broker, and you realized that wasn't the life you wanted for yourself. How did you go from doing those things to you decided you wanted to build wealth to have the life you wanted, not have the life you wanted after you built wealth, right? And so how did you make that switch? Because I know there's a lot of women out there thinking the same thing. It's like, I'm in medicine, I'm a lawyer, doing whatever they're doing, and thinking, I did this so I could have the money to do what I want to do. And now I don't get to do what I want to do because all I'm doing is running on this wheel.
Okay, this is such a great question. And this is something that I talk about with women all the time, because at the end of the day, we want to be available to do things with our kids. I mean, sure, wealth is time. I mean, it's money, but it's also time. It's having the money to do what you want, but then having the time to do what you want as well, because you can have all the money in the world, but if you're working 8,000 hours a week, then it doesn't matter. So I did join the Navy. I loved my time in the Navy. It was great. And they wanted me to stay, and I really toyed with that. But I knew I wasn't going to be able to go down the path that I wanted to go to. And I didn't know what that looked like. I was young, and I just knew, when I had kids really young. I was 19 and 21 when I had my first two kids. And
you were young. Okay.
When I joined the Navy, it was, I was financially struggling. I mean, there were times we would, pick up burgers, those 39-cent burgers at Burger King to eat, because I didn't make a whole lot of money, and it wasn't fun. I thought, but I am not living like this. This is not for me. I'm out. And so, I got out and I had the GI Bill and I went to school to become a nurse. And actually, no, before I became a nurse, I got my real estate license. So I got out, and a friend of mine had this amazing real estate company. She was one of the number one realtor in our city, and she wanted me to come and do her marketing. And I thought, okay, I just had a baby. And she said, that's okay, bring him. And so I did. I toted that kid around to houses as I did virtual tours. And I just thought, man, these ladies are killing it, selling houses. Like, I can do that. I don't want to do the marketing for her. I want to sell my own houses. So, rolled into that and loved selling houses. I ended up partnering with somebody else that had their broker's license. We opened up our own deal, and gosh, we were selling all kinds of things. We had several builders that we represented, but I worked 8 million hours a week. It was exhausting. And I mean, even when we went on vacations, I would be in the business center sending documents and everything. And my husband finally was like, look, we never see you. Even when my kids got out of school, I'd have movies in the car for them. I was taking them to showings, and I just didn't scale it correctly. And, when I look back on it, I wish that I had done things differently, because I could have built a team and made that so much better. I have a control problem, and I like to be the one that's in control of everything. I'm not a good delegator. I like things done a certain way. So I would say that's probably one of my downfalls, because I like things done a certain way, and I have a hard time when other people can't do it the way that I like it. So
I don't think you're alone in that category.
so it's tough, so I didn't scale it correctly. And finally I was like, you know what, I'm done. It's more important for me to have this time with my family and my kids. They grow up so fast, and you only get one life. And I just thought, I don't want to live in the business center while we're on family vacations. I don't want my kids to live in the car watching Aladdin while I'm showing houses. That's not what I wanted to do. So I got my nursing license, worked as a nurse. And I think all of these different, I was kind of testing out the waters in different places. My goal was to have, I was going to be a nurse anesthetist, and, I wanted to grow that. And I think all of these different experiences in different businesses, kind of gave me the tools that I needed to put everything together. But I learned so much along the way. I learned marketing. I learned how to deal with people. I learned how to take care of people. And I'm a people person anyway. Like, I love people. I can talk to people all day long. And so, about 10, 11 years ago, my dad passed away, and he was a petroleum engineer. So, I've been around oil and gas my whole life, and I inherited his business. And it was like, okay, we're going to just do a total reset. Like, there's got to be a way that I can invest in things. And, I had money managers. I always would have to ask for permission. Like, I want to invest in this. And I didn't like that, because I don't want to have to ask permission for what I want to do. Like, I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Don't question what I want to do. So I decided to take it all into my own hands. And so I started doing my own investing, started off kind of in stocks and crypto and, some of these different avenues. And that's when I met the real estate guys. And actually, Robert and Kara lived down the street from me, and I didn't know what Robert even did. And so it was kind of funny. I just happened to be talking about crypto with Kara at something we were at, and she was like, you need to come talk at our investor summit. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that is, but sure. And they were like, we're going to put you on a panel with Robert Kiyosaki and Peter Schiff and all these people. And I didn't even know who those people were at the time. And so I Googled them, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was so intimidated. And, but, I went and did it. I learned what syndication was. And I just thought, I was so excited. I knew that this was a way that, not only could I help myself, but I could help my friends. I could help so many other people. And then I can do it on my terms. And I mean, I love syndication. I can literally, as long as I've got the internet and my laptop, I can do what I do from anywhere. I have the flexibility to be with my family. So that's kind of what
I'm going to slow you down for a second, because you're running down the path. I'm going to back you up. Back up to, okay, so you started in the military. We'll start there. Came out, real estate, selling real estate and marketing real estate into nursing. And all the time you're spending more and more time in doing other things to make money, rather than when you talked about it, you were making money but not having time. So
Right. And that was really what, it felt like it was, okay, I got to work harder. I got to do more. And so I got to that point where I was literally living to work,
Gotcha.
that was it. There was no time for anything else. And that just, I was testing out all of these different things, but I was trying to figure out like, how am I going to create this life where, we've got the money to do what we want to do, but then we've got and then have the time to do it. Like
Yeah.
I'm all about experiences and, taking my kids to different things. And I'm over the stuff. Like, I don't even care about the stuff anymore. Like, I want to travel. I want to go to concerts and, just go do things and do these things with my children.
So for you at that point, money, it was time freedom that you were looking for. Then you
Yeah.
had this traumatic thing happen. Your father passed away. And while that in and of itself is traumatic, the more drama associated with that is you inherited this business that you knew probably something about, but not in the detail that you probably know now.
Right, right. So it was like, okay, great. I've inherited this. And, my whole family works in the oil and gas industry. So I've been around it my whole life. But I had never, I'm not looking at geology reports and, things like that. So fortunately, he had a really great company set up in Midland that was taking care of all of the well servicing. Like I just have to pay them, and we still have it set up that way. So I pay them, they take care and maintain all of the wells, and they just send me reports every month, and it's very easy. So then when they would decide to drill new wells and things, they would come and say, hey, here's this opportunity. Do you want to be a part of it or not? And so I just got thrown into the fire and just learned to navigate that space. And, I would reach out to some of my dad's friends and the people that were in that space to say, hey, I need your help. Can you look at this with me? Like, I don't even know how to assess a deal. I don't know how to look at this and make sure that I'm making a smart choice for my family. And so, because no matter what space you're in, there's bad actors, there's
Yes,
bad actors
yes.
everywhere. So you've got to make sure that you are partnered up with, good, legitimate people that know what they're doing.
So I love that. So back to when you inherited this, one of the nice things that came with that is the team that your dad had built to help run his business. So that's your first introduction into, I can't control everything. I need these people to help me. And then it seems like you even learned it more, the more they would ask you questions like, I don't know. So reaching out to more network, learning more from other people, and not trying to be the control everything and go read a book and understand it and take the next 6 months to understand something. You're out there reaching and talking to other people to get faster understanding, people who have experience to help you move along a little faster. Yes.
And yeah, I am 46 years old, and I can tell you it has taken me 45 years to really let that sink in and figure out that, I need a team, and it doesn't matter what it is. There's other people that are good at social media. I will capitalize on their social media because I suck at it. So if somebody else can do that, there's other people that are good at all of these other things. And it's just a matter of building that network and that team to help you scale so that you're not sitting there trying to take care of everything. Other people can take care of the things for you that they're good at that you're not, so that I can focus on, okay, what is going to be the next deal? I can work on putting my next deal together while I've got, A, B, C, and D person working on taking care of these other deals, so that I can go out and scale that, and we can do so much more.
I agree. So let's put it in the perspective of a woman professional out there, a woman physician out there working. She likes her job. She wants to keep doing it, but she realizes that it's time to have some other streams of income coming in. And a lot of the women that I talk to think, okay, I get this real estate deal. I understand that. Let me go buy a house that I can rent out to somebody. And I can tell you that the ones that have done it that way and maybe bought 2 or 3 other ones ultimately say, yeah, this is another job, which it 100% is. And how did you get past that? Because if it really, I guess if you wanted to stay a nurse, you could have stayed a nurse and figured out how to do real estate alongside, but you didn't take that path. How did that come about for you?
When you're already working 40, 50 hours a week, my goal was, I didn't want to work for anybody else. I wanted to be in control of my finances and my time and my money. So, building this business, a lot of people think, okay, yeah, I'm going to buy a single family home as a rental property, which I love that. And that's an amazing idea. And they're like, I'm going to, I'll take care of that. I'll find renters. There's so much work that goes into that. It is not and if something breaks or there's maintenance there, that's just like having a whole other job. And
Yes.
so, when you do things, one of the things that I've learned over the course of this last couple of years is to think big and go bigger. So, instead of buying one home where it might not make sense for you to build a team to take care of that one home, you can maybe put a fund together where you go buy 10 homes. And now you've got cash flow from those 10 homes, and you can hire somebody that does all of the rent. They are the ones that maintain that. They collect the rent and they just give you the checks. They take care of the maintenance. You can hire when you do that. And even if you're doing it with one person, find a property management company that you trust that can take care of that, so that they're the ones that are dealing with all those headaches and everything else that goes in with that. And you literally just have a check coming in. So that's truly passive income, which is what I want.
I love it. I love it, love it, love it, because that is exactly right. You have to have a team. And I like the way you put it you already do that at home. You don't clean your house. Many of us don't clean our own house. You don't cut your own grass. We don't even hardly shop anymore. Instacart, all these other companies that can go buy the groceries and bring them to you.
Yes.
So you're buying your time in a lot of different ways. When it comes to your investing, you also want to be buying your time. It's not about putting your time out there in different kind of ways. Go ahead.
No,
Courtney.
my time, your time, everybody's time is not best sitting here trying to find the perfect renter. Let somebody else do that while you're looking for your next property that you're going to buy. Your time is best spent on how are you going to get the next deal done? How are you going to acquire that next investment property? How are you going to make that next investment happen? That's where your time is better spent. Let somebody else take care of those little details while you're growing what you have.
100%. Okay. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about crypto.
Oh, I'm so excited about that.
You listen to Money with Mission podcast because you want to change lives while having your own financial return. You want to make a difference. You are a philanthro investor. The company Philanthro Investors was founded to financially support companies and individuals of goodwill who are making a positive social impact on planet Earth. The vision of Philanthro Investors is a world in which every family can have the opportunity to live in their own happy home, in which every individual can have easy access to organic, natural food, where animals and humans can drink clean water and breathe clean air. A world in which lives are protected from structural damage through innovative construction plans and materials. A world without electrical structures, full of renewable energy. A world without illiteracy, where disease is a distant past. A world where artistic talents are developed, appreciated, and adequately rewarded. You can have true financial freedom with the knowledge, control, and high purpose of philanthro investing, and achieve a true legacy. Learn more at moneywithmission.com. Click opportunities, then click philanthro investors. So, okay, Courtney, you got into the crypto space and blockchain and Bitcoin mining and all these things I barely understand except when you and I talk. Let's start really basic for physicians who are out doing their thing physician wise. And we've all heard of Bitcoin. We've all heard of FTX, probably the company that just fell apart, which probably makes everybody more scared. But let's just start talking about it. Let's just go and we'll.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're probably going to have to kind of reel me in because we can go off in about 8,000 different directions. And so, I got into crypto. My husband was like, you should buy some Bitcoin. And I thought, I'd heard of it, but I thought, well, okay. I'll check it out. And so I did, I call Bitcoin the gateway crypto because everybody comes in for the Bitcoin. And, I was like everybody else. I just was hoping to buy low and sell high and, make some money. And, hopefully that went well. That was my frame of mind when I got involved. And when I did, I bought some, read a book, and was like, wow, this is amazing. And so on the very basic level, blockchain is the technology that Bitcoin and all of these other crypto projects and everything else is built on blockchain. And blockchain is literally just a digital ledger. Banks used to have paper ledgers where, if Courtney sent you $1, it would go down in a ledger. Blockchain is just a digital ledger that it can't be hacked. Transactions can't be changed. Once it is written and put on the blockchain, it's there forever. So information is stored permanently. You can store contracts, you can store information. I mean, you can store anything. So there's so much that can be done with that. But
let me quick question. Anything that can be digitized, correct? So can we digitize anything and put in?
Yeah, we can digitize anything. So there are so many things that are already done on blockchain. Oh, okay. Like the little CAPTCHA, whenever you go to a website and it says, click on all the fire hydrants.
Yes.
That is a blockchain technology. So it's, crypto is just one of the teeny tiny little capabilities that blockchain has. It can do so much, and crypto is just one thing. Blockchain technology is going to be the next technology. Every so many years we have something that comes out and disrupts all of our industries. Electricity did that. The internet did that. Blockchain will be the next technology that comes out and has a huge effect across every industry across the board. So I bought Bitcoin, started digging into what blockchain actually was, and I was blown away. And I went down that blockchain rabbit hole, and I've been there ever since. And so I'm very submerged in that space, very excited about it, and got a lot of different projects going on in that area.
Okay. So we're talking to Courtney from the crypto blockchain rabbit hole, everybody. In case it sounds echoey, that's why. Courtney, so you started with the gateway crypto, Bitcoin, and then you learned about blockchain, and we know that crypto is a thing on the blockchain. Correct? Am I using those terms correctly?
You are. Yes.
Okay. And there's tons of different cryptocurrencies, just a bunch of them.
There's thousands and thousands. And really, crypto is really kind of like venture capital, because what will happen is, say Courtney's going to make, EMPR Investment Group, and I can create the EMPR coin, and I can go out and put it on an exchange. And when people buy those tokens, I'm raising capital for my company. So maybe my company is out buying stuff, but I can sell those tokens to raise money for it. So really, whenever you're buying tokens or coins of these other projects, you are pumping capital into whatever that company is doing.
That's interesting.
Which it's kind of like stocks for the stock market. When you buy a share of Apple, you are putting capital into that company, right?
Yes.
It's the exact same thing with crypto. When you buy those coins or those tokens, when you buy crypto, you're putting capital into that company because you believe in whatever that company is working on.
If the company has the token, but Bitcoin in and of itself is not associated with any, right? But it's not associated with a company, is it?
Right. No, it's not. So it's a little bit different in that, it was, the very first coin out there. And let me just tell you, there's coins and there's tokens. So a coin has its own blockchain. So Bitcoin has its own blockchain. There is another, Ethereum has got its own blockchain, and those are coins. So a token is a project that builds on top of that project. So like Dogecoin, I think was built on Ethereum. I could be wrong. I'm not even sure. There's other projects that build on that blockchain. So those are tokens.
Okay, let me make sure I understand that. So if your EMPR Investments wanted to have tokens for your company, that would have to be based on a cryptocurrency. It could be based on Bitcoin. It could be based on Ethereum. It could be based on.
Yep, you can build it. You can build your own blockchain, or I can go in onto the Ethereum network and I can create the Courtney token on the Ethereum network. So I'm just utilizing what they have already created.
Okay.
Instead of having to build my very own brand new blockchain.
Okay.
Technology, my very own program.
we're not going to go into how you build blockchain, but
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Okay.
We
We'll
will
go.
not.
Okay.
There's a lot of that's over my head even. Like I can
Okay.
use the internet. I don't know how the internet works in the background, but I just know it does.
I know exactly. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So we talked about coins. Bitcoin's a coin, Ethereum's a coin, and then there's tokens, which are actually, is it the digitized thing? Tell me,
Yeah,
go into
so it's
tokens
just
again.
like buying Bitcoin or Ethereum, but they're tokens. So they have just like, say I'm like, you know what, I'm going to create the Empire token. I can go and build that on Ethereum's network. So Ethereum is the coin. My token, I'll be a token because I built it on Ethereum. I'm just using Ethereum's rails.
Okay.
I'm just using the technology they created and I'm just building on top of it.
Okay. So now let's say
right now, we can go create the Felicia token right now and
okay.
slap that sucker in the market.
We're going to use the Courtney token. So, okay. Now Courtney tokens can buy me a piece of Courtney's business. Mm-hmm. Yes. If I buy Courtney's tokens, I'm supporting Courtney, and let's just say it's helping you live in your house, whatever. So so I can buy Courtney coins and Courtney gets those. Courtney is now getting investment to help her do what she's trying to do in her life. Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And then if I want to sell do you sell tokens or you sell coins or you sell either?
You can sell both. Yeah. You sell them on the exchange. You can go on Coinbase or wherever. So now just because I create a Courtney token doesn't mean Coinbase is going to list it. So you have to talk to exchanges and get your token listed and things like that. So
got it.
And they have requirements for you to go on there and sell it. Now there are like decentralized. So Coinbase, crypto.com, these are all centralized exchanges that are regulated. And I mean, FTX was regulated. So I'm not sure that, government regulation and everything being centralized is good. And so decentralized, which is DeFi, nobody regulates that. Like I can go in and drop my coins on there and sell them to whoever I want. So
is there a benefit to that? What's the benefit to that for you, for the seller and for the buyer?
Well, let's just talk about FTX and that craziness. So all of these people that had pumped their money, they bought these FTT tokens, which was the FTX exchange tokens. And FTX is the one that maintained control of all of that. So they were able to cut off everybody's ability to withdraw, which is just like a bank. Your bank has the ability to do that, just like Coinbase or anywhere else. So in a decentralized platform with your own wallets in your own place, you hold your own money and keep access of your money at all times, and nobody else does. So I like that. I like to keep all of my stuff. And I've been recommending to people to not keep their money in centralized places for the last couple of years. And what just happened with FTX and Celsius and some of these others are exactly why you don't ever keep your money on these other exchanges.
And I like that you compared it to being in a bank, because a bank can do the same thing. Bank of America could one day say nobody can withdraw anything.
Well,
and then you're just
have a
kind
run
of
on the bank, and they don't have the money there to actually, they don't have the, dollar for dollar, everybody what's deposited in their accounts, because really those are just a record of, transactions, is all it is. And so they can be like, yep, we are putting a halt on that and nobody can withdraw funds. So even though it's your bank account, you don't have full control of it. Same thing with centralized exchanges.
Okay. So decentralized is more like having your money under the mattress, except that it's more controlled because it's got the record associated with it on the blockchain.
Yes. Yep. All those records are there. But it is absolutely like having your money under the mattress. So that's exactly what it is. And so whenever I have my own wallets where I maintain control of all of my dollars that are in there, all of my Bitcoin. And so the wallets are not like an actual wallet, like where you hold your dollars. The wallet just points to where it's stored on the blockchain. So, but I maintain control of that. If I go deposit it into Coinbase, even though it's my account, they have full control over what happens with my Bitcoin that's right there. I don't have the keys to that wallet. So,
okay. Got it. Okay. Now let's talk about Bitcoin or crypto mining. What does that mean? You explained that to me and it was not it wasn't what I thought it was. So let's make sure everybody else is on the same page with that one.
Yeah, sure. So that is one of the things that, so how this blockchain is created, and how is it secure, how does that happen? And that's where mining comes in. So specifically, and we'll talk about Bitcoin mining. So a Bitcoin miner is a computer, and I have a lot of people that are like, I didn't even know it was a computer. And so I don't know if some people have these images of people hacking away at the ground to find Bitcoin. It's it's actually computers. I have some really awesome pictures of, we have a lot of Bitcoin miners, and I've got some really cool pictures of it. But the mining comes in. So say I'm going to send you 1 Bitcoin. When I initiate that transaction, every Bitcoin miner out there, and there are thousands of them, hundreds of thousands of miners that are verifying the network, they come in, there are these very complicated mathematical equations that they have to solve to verify that I sent that to you. And then all of them come together and say, yes, we have verified it. Courtney sent her 1 Bitcoin. So once they come to consensus and they have verified that information gets written in a hash and put on the blockchain and timestamped and dated. And it's there forever. It can't be deleted. It can't be terminated. It is there. So then when the next transaction happens, all the miners come together again. They verify that transaction, that it's valid and good. Once it is, they give it kind of a confirmation number, and that confirmation timestamp and date is put on the next block, and it's connected to the first block. So that's why, it has the previous block's information on it and then the current block. So that's why it's called a blockchain, and it's a blockchain of information. So Bitcoin specifically, the miners are verifying the transactions that happen, and the miners, because they are verifying and securing that network, they are rewarded Bitcoin for doing that.
Okay. So I'm going to back up. Once it's verified, it's verified in my wallet if I'm in a decentralized or central, either way.
It doesn't matter as far as the verification goes. It doesn't matter if it's decentralized, centralized, whatever. It's done on the Bitcoin blockchain. So when I initiate that transaction, it's sent across the Bitcoin blockchain. The Bitcoin miners step in and verify that transaction, and then it goes through, and a permanent record of it is written onto a block.
Okay. Now, just so everybody understands, because this is where I was lost. It's like, you mean there's a bunch of people sitting around at different computers verifying this? It's all computers. Every miner is a computer, correct? And
correct.
There's just chains and chains and chains of them all over the world that are.
Yeah. So we have miners, and we have about 500 miners at a data center. So you can run a Bitcoin miner at home. It's not profitable to do that just because home electricity is very expensive. These machines are very loud. They're like airplanes. They're so loud, and they create a lot of heat. So they need a lot of airflow. There's just a lot that they need. So
Okay.
There are data centers. We have 500 machines at a data center about an hour from here, and it is a 280 megawatt facility. And just to give you a perspective, that will run 85,000 Bitcoin mining computers. And these computers, my 500 machines, cost about $90,000 a month in electricity at 7 cents a kilowatt. And like my home electricity rate is 12 cents a kilowatt, and my home electricity runs about $200 a month for 5 people. So 1 Bitcoin mine, 500 machines is about $90,000 a month. So that just tells you what kind of power it takes. And most people run their machines at another facility because they can get lower electricity rates. And then somebody else, I'm outsourcing building my team. Instead of me having to take care of it and run it, I have put it at another facility where they take care of it and maintain it and run it, and I don't have to do anything. So I bought the machines, they took them to the facility, they installed them, have them up and running, and then every single day that Bitcoin gets deposited into my wallet.
Because your machines are mining for the network.
For the network. My machines are verifying transactions that are being sent across the network, and for their work that they're putting in to verify and secure that network, I'm getting rewarded Bitcoin for doing that. My miners are, which
your miners are, which you own the miners.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you this question. I don't know the answer, and we didn't talk about this before, but and I know because I can just hear some of the folks out here talking about that's a lot of electricity. Where is that? How is that getting there? Is it wind? I'm just I have no idea the answer to that question.
That's a great question too. And, a lot of people, the amount of electricity that Bitcoin is using to mine is getting brought up everywhere, especially when you've got stressed grids and there's places that are struggling with, providing the amount of power they have. And I can tell you that over about 60% of Bitcoin is being mined with renewable energy.
Perfect.
So it's being renewed with solar, wind, something outside of just regular electricity. And they're actually doing, the news never represents anything correctly. So I had somebody ask me, well, you're stressing the grid by Bitcoin mining. And I was like, actually, no, I'm not. We can go down that path a little bit more, but we are actually using more renewable energy than any other industry out there. We are leading the pack in that. So, if you sit back and think about the amount of electricity the banking system is using all over, it is tremendous. It's tremendous. How much electricity is Walmart using? How much electricity are airports using? When you take a look at that and you combine that, it's very significant. And I can assure you that none of these other industries are 60% renewable energy.
Perfect.
So
we don't have to go down that rabbit hole. I like that. I think most people will be satisfied knowing that 60% of the energy that's running these machines to mine Bitcoin or mine whatever crypto is renewable. Thanks. I didn't know that. Appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're doing this and you're not doing it just for yourself. My understanding is you've got an investment and you've got a place to help other people invest in this with some tax benefits, which is always the best kind of investment there is. Talk about that.
Yeah. So, when I first got into Bitcoin, that I was always told, mining's not profitable. Don't even take a look at it. And I just thought, okay. So I listened to that for a little bit, but then I thought, what, let me kind of dig into this. And it was one of those things that I figured out that, hey, if we buy miners, now we're buying equipment. So we've got depreciation. So I thought, okay, that's a huge benefit. And not only that, but when you're mining it and acquiring it for less than what you can just go buy it on the market. Like if I want to go on to Coinbase and buy it, I'm mining it cheaper than that. And I've got tax benefits. So my next question was, okay, these machines are expensive. So what I did was I started building relationships with people in the space, and I figured out a way to acquire a larger amount of machines for a much cheaper rate. So once I figured out, okay, hey, if we buy this much, we get this 50% discount, which was significant. And I thought, okay, how can I put this together? Because a lot of people want to buy Bitcoin, but they don't know how to do it. They're scared to store it. They don't know how to create accounts. How can I do this, to where it's easy for others? And I just decided to put a Bitcoin mining fund together. I was able to raise money by a much larger, scale amount of machines. And like I said, it gives you depreciation. So worst case scenario, Bitcoin goes to zero and it's worth nothing. So if you want into Bitcoin and you're buying it on the market, you're just going to be out, but at least with the tax depreciation, you're getting some tax benefits. So you're not completely out. Now, I 100% believe that we're going to see 7-figure Bitcoin at some point in time. I don't know when that will happen, but, being able to offer that to people. So we brought in our investors. I was really surprised here. We just did a fund about 4 months ago and we filled it very quickly. And I think, people are looking for alternate investments, besides just real estate. I really believe that, you need oil and gas in your portfolio. You need different types of real estate. You need to have, multifamily storage, mobile homes, single family homes, whether you're short-term rental or, whatever that looks like. But it's really important to have a well-diversified portfolio because, right now real estate's very questionable, but oil and gas is really great. Bitcoin's really questionable right now, but you know what? We're going to have a really great opportunity over the course of this next 18 months to buy distressed real estate. That's when you move in. Right now is kind of a distressed Bitcoin price. This is when smart money moves into that asset. So when these other assets that are in these distressed times, that's when you capitalize and, grab onto those opportunities. So, I had all all this oil and gas. That's great. I'm taking some of that profit, pumping it into, real estate. And, it's all, I'm just building one thing so that I can pump it into other things and, continue to diversify and build my portfolio.
Love it. So guys, Courtney's doing a lot of things and she just said a ton of stuff. The number one thing, remember, is establish your investment philosophy. Why are you investing? Is it for cash flow? Is it for appreciation? Is it for taxes? And it can be for more than one thing. And then you decide what the investment matches your philosophy, not the other way around. Just don't go start buying stuff, and then realize you got a big tax problem at the end of that because you made a bunch of money. You can mitigate that. You can mitigate that. Is the tax benefits with the mining equal to, better than, the same as multifamily? And just not anything special, just regular, nothing special happened.
So it gives you benefits, depreciation against passive income. So that is going to be like if you own an apartment complex, and you've got income coming in from that is going to help you depreciate that. So one of the things, I am involved in carbon capture, and we can go down that path here in a minute, but that opportunity gives you depreciation against ordinary income. So I have a lot of doctors, a lot of high income earners that like this, but then also it gives you depreciation against capital gains. And so it's really important for me. So I invest in carbon capture and Bitcoin and real estate. That way I'm offsetting all of the different types of income that I have coming in.
Perfect. And we did have Eric Shelley on a different program, and I'll have that in the show notes, which one that talked about carbon capture. So pay attention to that. If you're looking to offset taxes on ordinary income, which is the money you make operating on people, lawyering people, or whatever your profession is, that is that money that those kinds of investments in carbon capture, oil and gas will offset that. So
the great thing is, that investment gives you depreciation against that, but that investment's also creating a passive income.
Correct.
So then I have my people will rotate them into Bitcoin mining if they have an interest in Bitcoin. And then that depreciation will offset the income that they're getting from the carbon capture. So I really try to spend some time figuring out, okay, this type of investment is going to cause this kind of tax problem for you. What can we do to make sure that we are offsetting that and covering that so that you're not hit with this crazy tax bill at the end of the year? So it's really very strategic, and you've got to put some thought into it, like you said, and be strategic about what you're doing so that you don't get hit at that. Because I made that mistake. I had shiny object syndrome and was like, oh, I want to invest in this and this and this. And some of those things I didn't understand. And I got hit with a $185,000 capital gains bill from one investment that I was not expecting, which was not a good surprise. That really sucked.
Surprise.
Oh,
Courtney, you have done so much. And I know that guys, go back and listen to the beginning of this, of how Courtney started out. And a lot of her learning that came along was about realizing she wanted something different and not being afraid to go look for that something different. That is the key, is knowing you want something different and realizing there is something different and then taking that step. It was a lot of different things until she got to Bitcoin and crypto and syndication. It didn't start from Courtney was born and now she's a syndicator. Did not happen that way. She had a lot of life in there, and there wasn't one single thing that happened that got her here. It was a lot of different things. I
do want to add something to that. It really is important to get out and meet people, and going to investment conferences and things like that were kind of the game changer for me, because there were so many things out there I didn't know. We're not given a financial education. I had no idea that I could syndicate anything in the world. I mean, you can syndicate anything. You can syndicate rental properties, Bitcoin, hedge funds, apartments. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you want to do. You can syndicate that. You can raise the money for that. And now not only are you doing something for yourself, but you're making a difference in other people's lives as well. But I didn't know that until I got out and started going to some of these investment conferences, which really opened up my eyes to all of these other opportunities. And then I met all of these great people that I could, build these teams with and put these syndications together. And that was really the game changer, was getting out there, learning about all of these different things, and then taking action and making it happen.
So I heard two things there. networking and education. And that education did not involve paying a bunch of money going to school. It wasn't a college. This is on the street education. Now, there are so many of you listening to this to go, but how am I going to do that? I'm already working 12 hours a day doing what I do. Money with Mission Investment Club is coming. I do this. I go out and talk to these folks. I meet people like Courtney. I go to all these investment places. I vet these sponsors and the deal, and I can bring them to you in the investment club. It's coming. Hang in there, you guys.
I love that you're doing that. So we're about to start kind of an investor meetup here locally where, and I'll probably end up recording it so I can put that out there because there's ways to do that. There are ways, and I'm not special. I am nobody special. I'm a wife and I have 4 kids, and I don't come from anything extraordinary. I've gone through struggles. I've gone through all the ups and downs of the things. I just figured out that there was a better, different way, a way that worked for me. And I just went out and started learning and thought, okay, how do I put this together? And I need to meet the people that can help me do it. And I just did that. And it's by being educated and being surrounded by people like you and people that are listening to your podcast. And, there's so many investment conferences out there. There's local, even if you look on Meetup, there's investment conferences everywhere that you can go to for free.
Yep. Courtney, this has been some fun. You guys, we could keep talking for a long time. Just so you know, before we came on the air, Courtney and I vented about our issues for the day so we could have some fun when we had our conversation. So
yes,
we still cry, we still complain, we still have issues that make our lives not as much fun, but after I talked to her, it's like, okay, this is the opportunity. Here's my growth place for this. And we just got to keep going. It's not I can't do this, I'm going to quit. It's how do I make this better so I can keep going?
Well, and I love that. So I just finished reading The Gap and the Gain, which is one of my absolute favorite books. I loved it so much. I've listened to it again and I keep it on my Audible all the time. But, it talks about, even the negative things that you're going through, there's positive things to learn from that. There's, if you're living in the gap, you're staying in the negative, you're focused on the negative. And if you're living in the gain, you're focusing on the positive and the things that you're learning, even from the negative experiences, because there's always things to learn and grow from.
You told me this book before. I need to get it right now.
It's so
okay.
Good.
What do you have? We talked about a white paper, a report that you have that the listeners can get from you.
Oh, we didn't even get into real estate tokenization. So, oh my gosh. Okay. So we are working on a tokenization platform, which is really going to revolutionize the way people invest, and just in a very, very quick nutshell, my vision is to create the Amazon marketplace of assets. And by tokenizing assets, essentially we're creating shares like the stock market, but instead of companies, it's of assets. So you go onto that site and be like, you know what, I'll take $1,000 of Courtney's apartment A. I'm going to buy a little bit of this, and you can hold into that, but then you can trade. Maybe you've invested $100,000 in apartments, and 3 months later you're like, dang it, I really need $10,000 of that to put into something else. Or you can sell those tokens and move that around. And so we have an amazing report that talks about real estate tokenization and the benefits of it and what it's
before
doing.
You go there. So the difference that she just talked about is that right now in a lot of syndications, once your money's in there, it's in there until that thing is sold. You can't get it back. With the tokenization that she's talking about, you can invest your $100,000, $50,000, whatever you got into this thing. And now you have the ability to sell those tokens. I'm sure there's going to be some rules around it, but that is an amazing thing right there. That's an amazing
There are,
thing.
but the really cool thing is, like for apartments, if they are accreditation required after 1 year, that opens up to everybody. Even non-accredited people can invest. There's a lot of it opens up a lot of opportunity. Right now, there's not a way to sell your part of something like that unless you just have a friend that you're like, hey, can I sell you this part of my stuff? This tokenization in the marketplace that we're building is going to allow syndicators to come together, put all their deals. Investors can come in and search for the type of deal they need, whether it's cash flow or depreciation. They'll have access to so many more deals. And then the marketplace and that tokenization creates liquidity where you didn't have that before. So it's very exciting.
Okay. How do we get the report? Tokenization at moneywithmission.com.
Yes.
Tokenization. It'll be in the show notes, you guys. So if you're driving, if you're doing the laundry, if you're cutting the grass and listening to this, we'll have it in the show notes. You should get this report, guys. This is the technology. This is what's coming, whether we want it to or not. It is happening. So let's be in front. Let's be in front. And even if you're the sit back and watch, wait and watch, at least you'll know what's happening. And then once you feel comfortable, get in there. Courtney, how can else you've got a lot of ways people can get in touch with you. We didn't even talk about your it's not even a podcast, your video podcast,
Yeah.
Women Kicking Assets.
We've got, that's on YouTube. It's Ladies Kickin Assets, which I love. My partner Robin's amazing, but you can go to CourtneyMoeller.com and pretty much find everything that I'm working on there. So that's the best way. My email's Courtney@CourtneyMoeller.com. I love chatting with people, so definitely reach out, and I'm always excited to talk about tokenization or blockchain or anything else. So or carbon capture or investing or anything else.
Or we talked about, lots of different stuff. So just Courtney, I'm going to talk to her about managing her time better, because that's what she was out to do. We'll get there. But we both like to talk a lot. We both like to help people understand the things that we're most interested in, to see if it helps you. So reach out to Courtney. All her social media, all of her things she just talked about will be in the show notes. Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. We may have you back to talk about this some more, because like we said, we didn't get into tokenization. And as this goes along, as this matures, people are going to want to know more. So we'll have to have you back.
Oh, yes, for sure. So thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here. And it's been
so good. So good. So good. I had fun. Thanks, everybody.
You've been listening to Money with Mission. There are projects happening right now where you can have a great financial return while positively affecting the lives of others. To learn more about our opportunities, go to moneywithmission.com.